everybody, it's Colt from Dirt Wheels Magazine. To the left of me I got my future father-in-law Rick Bosmer and Sam Bosmer right here, looking pretty cool. He's the party driver. He gets things going for us at Dirt Wheels. So Sam actually was at the Pismo Dunes and got a little whiskey throttle and ended up rolling this bad boy. Have a few minor damages going on. The biggest one that we found is the fan motor is actually not running and it's starting to overheat. Along with that, we have some brackets up here that are broken. So Rick and I are going to show you how to fix this problem. Alright, so the way that we determined that the fan motor actually went out, my good buddy over at Lone Star Racing, Garrick Lastra, told me that we could do this little trick right here. So we got 2 wires, a couple alligator clips, and then we have our Ryobi battery right here. And Rick's gonna go ahead and put that on there so we can determine if the battery is gonna get it to go or not. Try switching the sides.
It's dead.
Okay, well that's a sure sign that this thing is smoked. So we're gonna get this fixed. So next what we're gonna do is we're gonna remove this this plastic piece here, the hood. Kind of tough to do with one hand here, bear with me. So as you can see, the fan bracket that I mentioned earlier had gotten busted off. So along with that, I don't know if you guys probably can't see down in there, but the fan's chilling right down there. So what we're gonna have to do is get some of these plastic pieces off, and that way we can get to the radiator easily. Now these plastic pieces are held on with a Torx bolt, and then back here we have a nut, 10mm nut. What size is the Torx?
T30.
T30 Torx, 10mm nut, and looks like we got some little Honda style rivets there, plastic rivets that you'll have to pop out. So we'll get started on that and get this front end taken apart a little bit. Okay, it looks like had to take the gas cap cover off, and got to remove this guy right here to get this larger piece off, because this is all going to come out with this entire front piece of plastic here. Alright, there is another Torx located right there, and that's for the headlight. Right underneath this piece above the running light. So to get at that, it's right there, right on the top of the headlight itself. So you're going to remove that with your Torx bit. Alright, the saga continues for these Torx. There's one right here, that one right there. Be careful with that, because you could possibly break the fenders, so make sure that you remove that one. Don't force it up from the top. Alright, here's another doohickey that we found. It's like a little speed clip, and then this plastic piece holds everything down. This is going to be on both sides of the machine. So you pull this bad boy off. It's a little tough, but can't really do it with one hand. But once you remove that, this top piece can finish coming off. So be sure to remove these. There's a couple of them. Looks like we got the other one already, but there's that bad boy right there. And then there's another one up front here, and we've already gotten this one right there off. So sorry, stuff's zooming in and out like crazy, so make sure to take those off. Alright, so we got these front pieces off, the top pieces I should say, and notice that there was some more Torx that need to be removed right there, both sides. and that is going to bring this piece off right here so we can finish getting close to getting the radiator out. Not sure why this is. There we go. There we go. Okay, now we're in focus. Okay, so it looks like we got, I hope anyways, that we got all of these Torx bolts out of here, the screws, the clips, the whatevers. So it's pretty loose. Looks like everything's ready to come off. We probably didn't need to remove anything for the headlight besides that top piece. Guess that piece is going to come too as well. So pull that baby out, throw it right there. So Rick's going to help me. We're going to pull this off. And then once we get it completely off of here, we will be able to get closer to the radiator. Okay, we thought we were going to get away without removing these handy dandy headlights, but we're going to have to remove those for these plastic pieces to come off. So this guy right there, it's a 7mm. We're going to remove that, and whatever else is holding this headlight on here, and then that way the big piece can come off. Hallelujah. So we got the 7mm removed, as you can see, and then this guy right up in there, let me point at it. That's a Torx. It's a 20 in size, so you got to remove that. That's for that adjuster. And then finally this thing's going to come off. I know it, I'm feeling it. In the words of the great actor Matthew McConaughey, alright, alright, alright. We got that piece off of here. Now you can see we got complete access to this here radiator. So looks like we're gonna have to finagle in here and get this thing moved out a little bit. Alright, so we removed these two bolts. It's two 10mm, 10 on the front, 10 on the back, and that holds the radiator fan and the radiator up top. You're also going to have this guy right here, and there's the other bolt head. Those are both 10mm as well. So I removed that, and this whole radiator should move forward even more than it is right now. Alright, there's a bunch of regular zip ties, as you can see right there, and it's going to be on the other side as well. There's a few of them over there that I can see. You're going to have to cut those because those are connected to the radiator fan shroud. Alright, with the zip ties removed, you can now see that this radiator can move pretty freely. And right here we got some clamps, little hose line clamps for the electrical, and those need to be pulled out. And then once that's good to go, right here is the bolt for the radiator fan itself. It's going to have 4 bolts, 2 on top, 2 on the bottom, and those look to be 10mm. So we'll be able to pull this thing out. Okay, boys and girls, that is the fan. Rick's going to demonstrate on what a fan shouldn't do. Go ahead and grab onto that, see if you can move it. A little harder.
It's not moving.
Use your strong arm.
This is the reason right here. Just rub it against the housing all through here, and it's melted itself right there. So when Sammy crashed it, this collapsed all on this whole side of the fan. That's what destroyed the fan.
So number 1, try not to roll your UTV. And if you do, be sure to have all your proper safety equipment, helmet, boots, harnesses, fire suit, the whole 9 yards.
And also, the better thing to do is don't let your dog drive the UTV.
Okay, duly noted. That's a good thing. Do not let the dog drive. So, radiator looks in good shape. We got all these clips taken off. Pretty much got this whole front of this car off, as you can see. Oh, just about ate it. So now we have direct access to that front end. Alright, so in an awesome turn of events, we put a screwdriver in here where we thought it melted to, and it did, but we pried it away from this housing, the fan housing, and now Rick will demonstrate. See that? Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. So, the fan motor is good. So we're gonna continue to use this bad boy because this fan right here is $215. Yeah, it's broke up here on the support, but we're gonna make something happen for this thing, and we'll go from there. So we're gonna show you how to put this thing back together now. All right, so we're back at it. Since we got this fan figured out, got it unpried from itself from melting, we just decided to keep using it because that fan cost $215 and we didn't really want to go drive around and try to find one, even though we knew where one was at, but it was forever away. So anyways, what we did, since this bracket up here, this plastic piece was broken, we ended up making this little L bracket, and it worked out pretty good. We still got the rubber mounting system, so as you can see, it's pretty sturdy. And then obviously we got this back tightened on. Little couple hints here when you're putting this all back together, putting the fan back on, is you want to keep all these bolts right here loose so you can get the bottom ones in a little bit easier. That one right there, and then on the other side too. So be sure to keep these loose. Got the bottom radiator bolts all dialed in, those are tight. So now we're gonna reinstall the headlights on this lower portion of each side so we can start putting the plastics back on. Okay, here we have the headlight. Remember, these take these little Torx with a screw type on them, and they're gonna sit right down in here like this. This is for the adjusting setup of these headlights, and then when we get the plastics back on, we're going to reinstall the top one. Alright, I wanted to show you guys something. So this thing flipped up, we had no idea where it was going. Obviously it's not going that way, so it actually folds up underneath, gives it a little bit more support when you start bolting stuff back in. So there's just a little pro tip for you that I didn't want you to miss out. Alright, one thing that you gotta remember is to have these little weenie clips. Not really sure what those are called. These ones have some gnarly teeth on them, so be sure not to get annihilated by that. But they go on the outside edges of this piece that it's gonna sit right in here. So just want to give you a little tip, you gotta have those on there because that's what holds this whole piece on. Alright, so this little guy right here, just a little backing plate for the plastics. Fits up in there like this, and one of these, I don't even know what to call them, piranha clips, because of those teeth. Look at that. Would you look at that? It's going to go on right after that little backing plate, and that's what holds it together. Alright, so don't forget this little guy right here. That's a little Torx screw, and it holds the top of this piece down right here, so that can't flop up when you're doing your thing out in the desert. So be sure to tighten that. Okay, we got the headlights back mounted up. There's going to be 2 plastic screws. This is the one with the 7mm head, and then right there is the Torx that takes the 20 size torque bit, and that's the piece that holds the top of the light in there. I don't have them tightened up yet, but I just wanted to show you guys so you remember to do that. Also, before you get too far involved, make sure that you get all of your zip ties back on for the radiator hoses, as you can see, and that'll save you some time towards the end here. Alright, we're almost done with this bad boy, and you want to go ahead and make sure that you got these torques in right here, this one in the front, and these all have the speed nuts on the back, so they're simple to get in. One thing I was going to show you too is when we remove the headlights, this female end for the fan has a little clip and it goes up right in there. So if you remove that and you forget where that goes, it sits right on the left headlight, and then that's the fan male end right there. So like I said, we're getting close to being done with this thing. Alright, Rick's reinstalling the push-in pop-out grill, the OEM setup here. And it literally just pops back in there with those same clips that I was talking about. I kind of call them a piranha clip. They have those gnarly teeth on them. It's probably not what it is, but whatever. So, got it in there. Looking like a Can-Am again. So this little piece I thought was going to be a pain, but it's actually pretty simple. If you look right up in here on the headlights, there's these little slots, and this piece has the male end, and you basically just slide it up in there and push it on, and it has it all the way down the headlight. So alright, there's another sneaky guy right here that we almost missed. You come through here through the top, it's kind of right back here in the back corner. So just kind of give this thing a couple look overs, make sure you got everything installed correctly. So we know this looks a little crude, we get it. I'm sure somebody's gonna give us crap for that one, but you know what, it's in there. It's in there really tight. There's no movement. It's just as strong as this other side, and it's going to get us back out on the trail with this beloved Can-Am Maverick X3 that we got here. So Rick's going to put that back on there, and we're... Alright, I don't know if you guys can hear that, but that's the sound of success. That fan is spinning. Just turned off just now, and it'll continue to do that. You can see the blades are starting to slow down. So when that thing kicks on again, maybe it'll do it here in a second, but it's a good thing to probably check that out, especially if you've been in a rollover. Just make sure your fans are still spinning freely, because we're 100% sure when this thing got rolled that it kind of fouled up that blade and started melting into the housing. So luckily the fan blades weren't that damaged and everything looks good. So we're gonna go out and have fun in this thing, test some tires, get it back out on the trail, and we'll see you next time. Thanks.
And Sammy doesn't get to drive anymore.
Sammy, the party driver dog, is not gonna drive anymore. This is what happens. We have to do all the work.